This is Chamber Voices, conversations with the people that drive local business. Presented by the Fort McMurray Chamber of Commerce.
Well, hello and welcome to Chamber Voices. You found the podcast that is focused on the Fort McMurray business community. That is, the people behind the businesses. That's what we're about. My name is Stuart McIntosh, and is it ever a pleasure to have you here. You are in for a treat today as we are speaking to Melanie Galea. She is a woman in the community, a very dynamic individual who wears a lot of hats. You may know her as a sales agent with Remax Fort McMurray, but you may know her as well as someone who has a very strong handle on connecting the community to local business through the use of social media. That's going to be a big part of our conversation today. Melanie, thank you so much for joining us on Chamber Voices.
I am so excited to be here and chat and see where our choo-choo train takes us here in this conversation. I'm excited.
So as I kind of mentioned in the preamble, Melanie, your reputation precedes you a little bit in our community, but I don't want to put words into your mouth, as I like to do typically when we do these podcast episodes. Could you just give us your story, share a little bit about what brought you to this community and what were the formative years for you in kind of shaping the business owner or the business person that you are today?
That would take us back to Oshawa, Ontario.
Okay.
That's where I grew up, and I went to Durham College, and I took sports administration, and one of the things I loved and was fascinated by was marketing. I really did love marketing. Realized I couldn't make a lot of money when the first job I was offered was like $15,000 or $17,000 a year. I was like, I cannot live on that. Love mom to bitch. She thought it was a great idea. I was like, there's no way. I need more. So I landed up becoming a massage therapist, and I had my own business in Whitby, Ontario. And I actually have been a member of the Chamber of Commerce since 1996, and I've had my benefits since that time. And we had a really strong Chamber of Commerce there. So I learned a lot about business, about some marketing ideas, and I met some really great business contacts. So I've always had a good, strong connection to the Chamber of Commerce for myself. Yeah, I quite love it. So why does any woman move to Fort McMurray?
That was not a question I was going to ask, but I was hoping that you would answer it.
Money or love? I moved for love. I'm in it with someone different, and I have fallen in love with this community, and it's the place where your friends become your family, because everyone is from somewhere else, and I've got some really incredible friendships in this community. So I became a realtor in 2007. Haven't really looked back. Started doing video in 2013. Didn't know how I was going to do it, just knew I needed to. And my first video took me a week to edit. I used my Samsung S3. There was crying, there was wine drinking, there was some frustration, but it was better than the video than anyone else wasn't doing. And I kind of love that quote by Tony Robbins about, like, you know, what you're doing is better than anyone else that isn't doing it. So I just kept going in with it. I've honed my craft over the years. I love learning more. Technology changes. That's the one constant thing. So there's still crying and wine drinking with video and video editing. And, I do my best to not take myself too seriously. And I try to bring in the other things that I do love in life. I love golf. That's how I met my new guy, Paul. I love the Fort McMurray Golf Club, and not that Mac Allen's not great, but yeah, I've got my membership there. What else can I tell you? Obviously, I like wine. My Siberian forest cat, Jules, who may make an appearance here, while waiting to see if she comes in to say hello and take over as a furry supervisor. I've been here since 2007, and I don't have an end date here. So here I am.
It's interesting that was the year that you kind of stepped into that role or attempted to get into that other space, the video creating and the content creating, because
let's correct you. It was actually 2013. I became a realtor in 2007. But did I start on social media like shortly after that? I did, because it was a way to stay connected with my friends and family back home. I'd say Fort Mac felt like home on the second year. And it's really because of golf. Ladies night golf for me was the way that I made the strongest connections. And it's been an unbelievable business connection as well. But that's how I really felt connected to this community, was because of my friendships from golf.
I think about that all the time. What are we missing as far as business connections, as far as, friendship connections? The last year and a half, what has been missing from all of our lives by not being able to interact socially on a golf course or on a hockey rink, or, for those of us who play music in a band? That is going to, when we finally get back to being in the same room as one another, I really hope we don't take for granted the ability to just connect and build relationships with that face-to-face, because man, I miss it.
Hugging. I am a hugger. I miss the hugging. But you know what? I'm going to tell you, it's going to remind me of when we came back from the fire and everyone was like, how was it for you? Mm-hmm. Welcome home, mm-hmm. And that connection and that reconnect. I feel like it's going to really be like that for us again.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that was something that's a pretty excellent segue into kind of my next line of questioning here. Melanie Galea, you can find her online. Soldbymelanie.ca is her professional website through Remax. She's also got a few other ways to connect with her, and through her connect with our community. On Facebook, you can find Discover Fort McMurray. Online, it's discoverfortmcmurray.com. And there's a couple of other amazing resources that you have spearheaded, Melanie, that I want to kind of come back to a little later in the episode. So let's get back to 2015, because that's when you'd built up a couple of years of experience. Your know-how when it comes to creating video content was becoming somewhat more robust, and you embarked on a project for your professional life, right?
Yeah, I did. I have some really fantastic friends across the country, Remax agents that are doing video. We really support each other. We've got an unbelievable community of realtors, and some good friends of mine, Michael Thorne in particular, had done 30 videos in 30 days in BC. He's a great friend. He's been my mentor. He's the one that inspired me 2013 at a Remax conference to get started with video. So I knew the next step was doing community video. And so I did 30 videos in 30 days, and it was a labor of love, I will tell you that, because at that time I filmed, I edited, I was a one-woman show with all of this. And it was a lot of work, but I loved every second of it because the business owners loved it so much. And I got to really immerse myself more deeply into the business community. Now, here's a sad fact though, Stuart. Half of those businesses are gone.
Breaks my heart.
That's an unfortunate and sad sort of fact that makes me but I mean, that's like six years later, right? Yeah. And so I hope we get to the point where we're going to talk about some strategies for businesses later, because people have to make some changes, and if you're not willing, you're just not going to survive. You cannot get away from this, right? Pivoting and using social media to market your business. So if we fast forward to April 2016, I had an opportunity to get an app started called, and I was calling it Discover Fort McMurray. Mm-hmm. One of the logo that I actually have for Discover Fort McMurray, with the Aurora Borealis in it, the beautiful colors. It was one of the no's that I said to having as my personal branded logo, and I'm like, this is absolutely perfect. So that's where the logo came from. My whole plan was May 1st, 2016 to launch it, 30 videos, 30 days, Fort McMurray, Discover Fort McMurray, and do my whole thing. I had filmed a bunch of episodes already. And as I was standing on City Hall steps filming my intro, the water bombers were going over top of City Hall. And I said to my friends, like, I had some friends on a chat on Facebook, Michael Thorne being one of those people, and I was just like, guys, I don't think I could do this. I think I gotta wait. And then lo and behold, May 3rd comes around and we had to evacuate the entire city. And so, everyone's got their story. That morning, I was actually filming at Nirvana. For some reason, the equipment didn't work. And anyways,
sure.
But I feel like I was really blessed in the fact, like, it's almost like, I'm just going to sound woo-woo here for a moment. Like Big G, my protected people upstairs, said, oh, she's one of our favorites. Not that other people aren't, but it's just like, I felt like there was a bubble around me because I didn't see that big wall of flame. I didn't go through that. We landed up camping at the bridge, under the bridge to nowhere. And, like it just wasn't the time. Right. So
no,
it just
certainly
wasn't
not
time to launch that. Right. So when we came back, I hope people remember what it was like, right? Because if we don't shop locally, this is what could happen, is that there's not going to be local businesses here. How long it took some businesses to open. And that's why I'm such a fanatic about shopping local and doing as much as you can. I understand. I don't want to overpay either. I know that not everything is here, but just try. I ask people, just try to look to see if something's here. So when we came back, I landed up using the app as something to say, okay, hey, what's open? What's open? What's open? And just kind of grew things from there. It took a little bit longer. I don't even think I did 30 videos in 30 days. I think what I did land up doing was Natalie Ben Ruby, she owns Absolute Serendipity, and Benjamin Moore. At the time, it was just Absolute Serendipity. And so her and I partnered together and we organized a shop local day in that summer. And so I think there was 20 of us. And what I did is I went to each location and we filmed. And some of those businesses said that it was the best day of business that they had ever had. And I'm trying to remember if that was the summer or if that was in December. It might have been in December.
Was there snow on the ground?
It was phenomenal to be able to help people do that, right? Like it was really, really cool. So there's some great people in this community, and doing Discover Fort McMurray has given me the opportunity to meet those people and help get them some exposure that they might not otherwise have gotten, because there's so many business owners, Stuart, that are so great at working. They're so busy working in their business, they don't make the time or realize that they have to work on their business, meaning creating those marketing strategies, figuring out how to use reels on Instagram, figuring out Facebook algorithm, which changes all the time.
All the time.
And it's like, why do I need Facebook? Why do I need to be an astronaut to be able to run an ad? It should be easier than this. If I could talk to someone that would actually listen. Soapbox for another time. Anyways, business owners need help, right? And business owners need help. And so that's what has fueled me to do this. Fueled me, like, I don't spend a lot of time volunteering in other places. Running these events is like running a wedding for 20 brides. Is one. And I say that with love. But business owners are busy, right? So always trying to get their attention and garner their attention is a little bit of a challenge sometimes. But God love them, right? God love them.
We do love them. The Chamber of Commerce is all about that, and we, Melanie, love to grow in lockstep with those same business owners that you're describing. The Fort McMurray Chamber of Commerce is all about advocacy for local business. If you are not a member yet of the Fort McMurray Chamber and you'd like to be, visit us on our website, fortmcmurraychamber.ca. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at YMM Chamber. We're going to be right back with the second half of our conversation with Melanie Galea on Chamber Voices.
This is Chamber Voices, conversations with the people that drive local business. Presented by the Fort McMurray Chamber of Commerce.
Welcome back to Chamber Voices. My name is Stuart McIntosh. This is the second half of our conversation with Melanie Galea of Discover Fort McMurray. It's interesting to me to hear the origin story of Discover Fort McMurray. The momentum that it's built in the last 5 years was sort of born out of just a simple passion to get our businesses post-wildfire exposure to everybody coming back. Can you think back to that time when you were shooting those initial videos and beginning to build that momentum that we talked about? Was there a memorable event, a memorable interviewee that you had a chance to sit down and talk with that just kind of sticks in your mind?
Oh my goodness. Marty Giles is always a gas.
Yep.
Right? Like, you never know, like trying to hone him in is like, just forget it. It's Marty's show and you're just there for the ride,
It's
right?
fun,
Like
though.
just ride. And Jerry Wong of McMurray TV. Oh my God. I love that guy. So, I've had some really fun interviews. Most people are really nervous, actually. The majority of people are really nervous. I do my job to, I don't want to say be Oprah, but just make them feel comfortable. It's just like this. We're having a conversation and we just happen to be talking about their business. I remember the meat shop in Thickwood. Oh my goodness, we were filming and this little boy is in the background. You could see it kind of in the bloopers at the end of that video. And he's like mouthing in the background. Like he sort of stole the show. It was the absolute cutest thing. So
kids love cameras. I don't know what it is. They love cameras.
They do. Yeah, they do love cameras. Yeah, it's been it's fun, right? Like it's so much fun. So it's definitely, like I said, it's my labor of love. I did another, because of COVID, we couldn't do the shop local thing in December this past year. And so the chamber, it just wasn't a time, normally the chamber would do their shop local passport program. You guys weren't able to do that. It wasn't the time. It wasn't the time. And we'll get into your next venture because I think it's freaking brilliant. But I did another 30 videos in 30 days and it was really cool. I really appreciate that the CBC picked that up. Here's the thing that I loved out of that. One person that was an absolute superstar, and I really want to acknowledge Carly Johnson from Firebag Coffee. She reposted, and actually the lady from Higher Ground as well. They were so amazing. They reposted everybody's stuff. They were so supportive. They did all the stuff that I asked them for. And, I think Carly's business is absolutely exploded. Andy Parker of 57 North saw her on it and reached out to her because of the video that he saw in the 30 videos to say, hey, let's do a partnership. They sold baskets with the Code Red. Here's another. Oh, I love seeing collaborations, right? So Code Red is the beer that the charity beer that they have for the local hero foundation. So, and then they had another brew. I can't remember the other beer, but anyways, like they had these coffee and brew packages, brew and brew really packages, right? You brew your coffee, you brew your beer, right? And they were gift packages and a couple of different sizes. And I went to pick one up and it blew my mind. They exploded with growth. It was just, there must have been over 100 baskets there. Way more than 100 baskets. It blew my mind. So to see stuff like that and to know that came from just doing a video, right? Just doing a video like that, like it really, I'm feeling a little verklempt right now, like a little moved, but in a way that I'm proud, right? I'm proud to be from Fort McMurray, proud that I could help people like that, proud that I could help a family's business that is new to Fort McMurray. And she is so in love with this community. Like she gets it. She gets who this town is. And people love her. Oh my God, you can't help but fall in love with Carly. So I love that story, right? I really love that. That's probably one of my most favorite stories and most favorite outcomes. I remember the very first one, Angela Unique Boutique. She had the best day ever. And I think that's still her number one day that she ever had with one of the shop local days that we did. So
as a result of a video that you did for her.
Well, it was that one was the combination of the shop local. So we did videos for every single person in the shop. I was tired at the end of the day. Oh my goodness. I found a few better ways to do it. But, there's something to be said about the power of video. And so what video does is it bridges the gap between someone, using your business and not. And here's how it's done. Like if you kind of reverse engineer a sale, let's look at this. People have to trust you. I trust my dentist, but I am not going to my dentist for heart surgery, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they have to believe that you are the person that can solve their problem, right? And so before that, they have to like you. Before that, they have to know who you are.
Exactly.
And video bridges that gap.
We are talking to Melanie Galea, who is just, as you can tell, a cheerleader for Fort McMurray, and she's putting the pedal to the metal. She's putting her money where her mouth is. Maybe that's a better way to place it. By basically being the architect behind a couple of really amazing initiatives. We're discussing them right now. DiscoverFortMcMurray.com. Discover Fort McMurray is on Facebook as well. And Melanie, your passion sort of spilled over, as you're describing, into this new thing, building strategies and framing out social media strategies for businesses that are wanting to get in there. I mean, we talk about it all the time. In the last year, it has become so essential that you have the ability to market to your customer base through the web, through socials. And and yet it's such an unknown for so many. And that's what you're kind of helping businesses with nowadays as well.
Well, one of the cool things, I taught 3 different classes. I think it was 2017 and 18, and I taught a few different classes. One of the bigger classes had like 60 people in the class, I was so excited. And one of the people in the class, if you guys are paying attention to Sharika's on the Snide,
sure,
they, in the last year, their game especially their Instagram game is not lame. It's dope. It's ridiculous. I am so proud of Callie, of what she's done on social, especially on Instagram, because she gets it, right? She gets it. So businesses don't have a choice. They don't have a choice. If you want longevity, if you want to be around for a long time, you have to learn how to do social media. And so one of the things I would say is that, because I get lots of people just like deer in the headlights, where do I start? Pick one. Mm-hmm. Pick one modality, right? I do think Facebook is the biggest here in Fort McMurray. I do think in other regions that Instagram is bigger. But in Fort McMurray, Facebook is definitely huge. So I like working smart, not hard. That's one of the reasons I started doing live open houses, like virtual open houses since 2017, because I can reuse all that content, right? And so sometimes if you can create one video, that video can go on Facebook, it can go on YouTube, it can go on Instagram, it can go on your website. There's 4 pieces of content right there. Are you on LinkedIn? Then boom, there it is too. Are you on Twitter? There you go. There's 6. Right? There's 6 places from one short video. So if you're not comfortable on video and the written word is your thing, then do that. But I would learn one modality really well. I would start with Facebook, and then the very next one would be Instagram. Now, if you want to start working that smart versus hard, you can post from Instagram to Facebook, but you cannot do Facebook to Instagram. So if you want to work smart, then do Facebook or do Instagram, and then have Instagram go to your Facebook page. If that is the minimum way that you have to do it, then you're at least hitting 2 birds with one stone.
As a business owner, if you are already on the social medias, if you're on Facebook, you need to start following Discover Fort McMurray. Easy enough to find in the search bar. Melanie, though, you've got a couple of other... Discover Fort McMurray is sort of the more... outwardly focused. I mean, you don't even necessarily have to be a business owner to participate in that, but you've got a couple of more groups that you're kind of the architect behind and you're the driving force behind, with more of a focus towards the empowerment of the businesses we've been talking about for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah. So there's 2. So for the entire city, I have Discover Fort McMurray Community Connection. And that's the place. First of all, it is a healthy environment. I don't put up with BS. I don't put up with drama. I don't put up with any garbage in there. Okay. So it's a really healthy place, but I encourage you to start using it. Are you in search of something? Go there. Do you have a business? Do you have an RMW approved business? Post in there as much as you absolutely want, because This is the thing. We want people shopping locally. We want people part of the community. Now, if you are a business owner, I have a private business page for just business owners. And I throw tidbits of social media stuff here and there that'll give you some tips and tricks and tips on how to do better on social. So that one's called hashtag #IShopYMM. That's the hashtag I created like when we started doing the shop local days. And so that's another way to tag a business, use that hashtag, search that hashtag to see what's here and what's open here in Fort McMurray. I definitely encourage you to do that. And it's a hyper local hashtag. And that's important, especially if you're using any kind of Instagram strategy.
Definitely. Well, Melanie, this has been a really excellent. We could talk for hours about this. It's interesting how social media strategy has gone in the last half a decade, practically since 2016, from having something on the internet to now being very, very strategic about how exactly your brand is portrayed. If there is an individual that wants to connect directly to you with questions, how might they do that?
Couple of different ways. You can always, Facebook is probably the easiest. You can either use it and message me personally. You can go to my business page, Melanie Galea, Fort McMurray Real Estate, Remax Real Estate. Anyways, there's not too many Melanie Galeas in the world, or Discover Fort McMurray. Mm-hmm. Whatever, that's pretty easy to remember. So before we wrap things up though, Stuart, I want to shout from the rafters how excited I am and impressed, blown away by the Chamber of Commerce, the Fort McMurray Chamber of Commerce, and this Love Shop Local initiative that you have going.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, why don't you tell people what it is, and then I'll brag about it for you.
Of course. I mean, Love Shop Local is a prepaid gift card program that is designed, and it was formulated with the idea that we want the community to invest in the community. As at this moment, we have well over 100 featured merchants on this card, which is offered through the Fort McMurray Chamber of Commerce at fortmcmurraychamber.ca/loveshoplocal. It is a Visa-based prepaid gift card, which you can purchase in denominations of $50 or $100 and then spend locally. You can find a whole list of vendors. In fact, you can include your business as a featured vendor by joining the chamber and having a conversation with us. But, Melanie, frankly, the last few weeks, hearing the response, it's been one of the highlights of my professional career, have to say. I think
that the Chamber of Commerce has really put themselves on the map, and I will be shouting from the rooftops. So here's for consumers. Do you want to spend $85 and get $100?
Right?
Yeah.
Of course you do.
Of course you do, right?
It's economics.
So that is the economics of the card, okay, if you're buying $100. So as a business owner, it costs you your chamber membership and $100 a year. Mm-hmm. You are crazy not to do it. You are absolutely crazy not to do it as a business owner, okay? Like, this card is just going to grow more and more momentum, but it's also, you have a responsibility. If you are a shop owner, don't expect the chamber to do everything for you. You need to grow with it. You need to brag about it. You need to talk about it. You need to share. You need to post that you are part of this, because if everyone's doing it, then we're going to have this herd mentality towards it. And I think it is just so vitally important. Here's a stat, and it comes from the Canadian Chamber of Commerce. 60 or 65 cents of every dollar spent stays in the local community. And it is these local people like the Rob Rice from Home Hardware, Jerry Wong from McMurray TV, Yvonne Loren, Melanie from Chocolates and Candlelight. These are the people, and even Kate Stuvey at Life Force. These are the people that are the backbone of supporting our community. And so by shopping local and this money stays here. This money stays here. It's needed for our hospital. It's needed for our kids' teams. It's needed for the United Way. It's needed right here in Fort McMurray.
Melanie, The endorsement is so much appreciated. It's such a pleasure to be able to talk to you. And as we've already mentioned, I'm sure as we have established, you are very, very active on social media within the community, particularly if you're a business owner with questions. So that is once more why we encourage you to find her online and find some of the initiatives that she's behind, including, we'll start with Discover Fort McMurray on Facebook. Very easy to find. Melanie, Galea, thank you very, very much for joining us on this episode of Chamber Voices. So appreciated.
Thank you so much. This was a blast.